Hello, 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 friends. Oops, I nearly tripped there. Good morning. Just out and about on a walk, per usual. And today, I think I'm going to share a bit more about myself. As in, one thing you may not know, I do not have any social media accounts. Well, I am on YouTube, if that counts. But I personally do not see YouTube as a social media account. But yeah, it's been, I would say, about 3 years or slightly over 3 years since I completely deleted all of my social media accounts. And in this video, I'll just talk about how my life has changed since deleting all of my accounts. Well, I would say overall, I am a lot happier person. I am a lot more content person, a lot more peaceful person, a lot more able to manage my emotions, for lack of better words. Or rather, I'm not afraid of my emotions. I allow them to exist. I allow them to be. And yeah, there's no structure to this video. I'm just going to chat. Just talk about ways that being off social media has changed my life. Well, first of all, I spend a lot more time in nature. Every single day, I am out in nature in some capacity. As you can see, I've just found being out in nature just uplifts my spirits. It absolutely do. Whereas previously, I would just sort of doom scroll on social media, endless doom scrolling, and before you know it, an hour has passed. But now, one of the things that I absolutely love doing, that absolutely uplifts my spirits, is being out in nature. And I didn't get that previously from being on social media. So that's one way. And another thing is that since completely deleting all of my accounts, I've become a lot more consistent in journaling. You know, I've been journaling for a good, which way to go? That way. I've been journaling for a good few years now, many years. But in terms of consistency and intentionality, that has only sort of picked up since I deleted all of my accounts. And it's amazing what new skills you discover once you're not spending all of your time being consumed by doomless scrolling. Like, for example, from journaling, so like written journaling, I have discovered that actually I'm a poet. So from journaling, I've started writing poetry, and I now have a collection of poems that's currently in the process of being published. So that's exciting. It was something I never really intended to do. It was something that just sort of happened naturally. So yeah, another way social media has changed my life is I started being a lot more proactive. I might sit down, guys. I think I'll sit down for a bit. A lot more proactive, as in I've started learning new skills. For example, well, poetry, I suppose, writing. From journaling, I sort of started writing more, and that writing then sort of evolved into writing poetry. Yeah, and that's something I really enjoyed. Something I would have never, ever, 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 ever guessed that I would do. But here we are today. So watch out for that. I'll be sharing the link of my poetry collection whenever that's published, hopefully soon, sometime this year in 2026. But yeah, also in terms of learning new skills, like I learned how to swim as an adult. I absolutely did. Because I'm not spending time being consumed in social within the social media. What am I trying to say here? One thing you will realize in my videos, they're all single takes. There's no second recordings, there's no editing. I just record and post as it comes. So what was I trying to say? Yeah, learning new skills. I learned how to swim, and currently I'm learning how to play the piano. Like there have been certain things that I've started learning and then realized perhaps this is not for me. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I wouldn't know what my passion or skills are if I don't give it a go. So it's about giving things a go. And previously, because I was so drawn into social media, spent a lot of my time just scrolling. I don't think I would have had the time to do any of that. But yeah. And something else as well is I'm a lot more emotionally mature, if you like. I'm a lot more spiritually mature, if you like, by not spending so much time on social media. And don't get me wrong, social media is not a bad thing. It's about bringing your awareness into how you're using these platforms. Because at the end of the day, these are tools, and you have to make sure you're using the tool and not the other way around. Make sure the tool is not using you. Which is, how it seems for a lot of people nowadays. But yeah, previously, going back to the emotional maturity thing, previously I would spend, I didn't realize this at the time, but I was using these accounts as a way to sort of not face my own emotions, as a way to sort of numb myself, if you like. And like one thing I realized when I wasn't spending so much time on social media, all of these emotions I was trying to ignore, if you like, or trying to suppress, they all came up on the surface. And I got to a stage where I had no choice but to face these emotions and see what they're here to tell me. And one way that I worked my way through those emotions was journaling, because it allowed me, there was something about putting pen to paper that sort of gave me some sort of clarity with regards to my emotions. So yeah, I'm a lot more emotionally mature. I'm not scared of my emotions. Any feeling that's coming up, I watch it rise. And the way I see it, your emotions are here as a message. They're here to communicate something to you. So you have to allow yourself to allow that message to come through. And you realize that, they're not going to kill you. They're just emotions. They will, the same way that they rise, they will just pass if you let them by themselves. But if you don't, and you try to repress them, or you try to distract yourself from them, that's when they linger. And I think that's when most people live in a anxious state, or slightly low mood without even realizing this. So it's about bringing awareness into your own life. And I guess something else that I've sort of realized after quitting social media was how much time I was spending on social media just performing, as in it was all a facade. You know, I used to spend so much time editing content, you know, trying to find the right picture, the right angle, the right outfit, the right event. And once I got my pictures, you know, I would spend so much time editing them that I didn't even recognize myself anymore. You know, just thinking about it now it's making me feel exhausted. You know, can you imagine how exhausting that is? So I used to spend a lot of time just trying to curate this image that I thought was required on these platforms, and it was exhausting. So yeah, I'm glad that I'm not doing any of that anymore. Like all of these YouTube recordings are single takes. Like here, previously I would have said, oh, the light here is not great, I need to find my light, but who cares? It's a hot day, I'm sat in the shade, so this will do. Yeah, like I'm not saying this is the right thing for everyone to do, to be off social media, but it was the right thing for me to do. And you have to bring a certain level of awareness into how you're using these platforms. That's mainly it. How are you using these platforms? I guess the question really is, most people are being used by these platforms rather than the other way around, which is how it should be. So be very intentional with how you use these accounts. I'm not saying delete it like I have done, but if you've clicked on this video, clearly there's something in you that's realizing that perhaps the way you're using social media may not be the best for you at the moment. So yeah, I think I would urge everyone to have some sort of awareness with regards to how they're using these accounts. How, or rather, what sort of content are you consuming? Because the platforms themselves are not the problem. It's how you're using them and what sort of content are you consuming. Like you have to be intentional about this. You know, the same way people bring awareness into what they consume in terms of their food diet, you have to have a social media / digital diet, bring awareness into what sort of content you're consuming. How does it make you feel after being on these platforms? Do you feel drained? Do you feel as if you're missing out? You know, there's a lot of FOMO around. Do you feel depleted after being on these platforms? If you do, then it's time to sort of evaluate what's happening. That's it really. For like I was there was a time where I was in a constant state of low mood, constant state of low vibrational anxiety, if you like. And at that time I didn't realize that, but there was something in me that knew that something had to change, and I could connect that it was to a part of it anyway. It was to do with the time I was spending on social media. So once I've been off it, because I'm a lot more present in my life, because I'm a lot more aware, I'm okay with my emotions. I see them as a message. I don't try to distract myself from it. I don't try to pretend that they don't exist. I welcome them actually, and I work my way through them. But yeah, that's the message for today. Ask yourself, how am I using these social media accounts? Am I using them in a positive way where I feel uplifted, where I feel energized? Or is it the opposite? Do I feel depleted? Do I feel drained afterwards? Something else that's popped in as well. Being off social media just allows you to be a lot more present in your physical reality. Like, I see a lot of people, they just constantly consumed by their digital world. And, even they're out and about, but their head is down on their phones. And this sort of takes you away from your physical world. You're sort of not interacting with life, basically. Being out in nature. Get off your phone. Listen to the birds. Watch the birds. Watch the trees. There's so many different wildlife. So many different trees. There's so much to see. I'll show you my view right now. Look at that view. How magical is that? That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God, it's shaped like a heart as well. Can you see that? It's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, this is what was necessary for me to do. I know some people can sort of manage how much time they spend on these accounts, but for me personally, I had to come off it completely to sort of reset myself. And I've got no regrets whatsoever. And that's not to say I would never go on back to having social media accounts. Just picking up my spot there. I will never go on to having these social media accounts. I may do, but it is going to be with purpose, with intention, with awareness. Well, that's it for now. If you feel called to, subscribe, comment, share, like, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.